Shabbat Shalom from the beautiful snow in Jerusalem. I want to start not with this week's Parashat Vaera, but I want to start last week's Parashat Shemot. Moshe Rabbeinu has a plan that he was told from Hashem, take the Jewish people out of Egypt. But he's got a problem. And the problem is, V'lo sham'u Moshe, they didn't listen to Moshe, mikotze ruach or me'avodah kasha, they didn't listen because they were working so hard. Hashem gives Moshe Rabbeinu a sign. This story is one with which you are familiar. Take your rod and throw your rod onto the ground. And Moshe Rabbeinu's rod turns into a snake. Then pick up the tail of the snake, and the rod transforms back into the snake transforms back into a rod. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, take that sign, and with that sign, the Jewish people will believe you. This sign appears 3 times. Moshe Rabbeinu at the burning bush last week, Parashat Shemot. It appears to the Jewish people, and then in this week's parasha, Aaron HaKohen takes his rod and throws it in front of Pharaoh, and Aaron's rod turns into a snake. What's the sign? What message is Hashem trying to communicate? Why does this sign open the hearts and minds of Am Yisrael? Why is it that when they see this sign, they realize that there's a possibility of them coming out of Egypt? The Shemish Shmuel explains, and he asks, what is a rod? A rod stands straight, upright. It represents strength, dignity, perhaps even royalty. It's holy. It's great. A snake is different. In fact, couldn't be more different. A snake wallows in the dirt, distant from holiness and unconnected to Hashem. The curse of the snake in Gan Eden was that it will eat the dust of the earth, meaning that it doesn't need anyone else. It's alone, separate. It's detached from Hashem. The sign of the snake is a lesson in Jewish history. Moshe Rabbeinu is telling Am Yisrael, do you know where we come from? We come from Abraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov, great, mighty, powerful people. People that are like rods, stand up strong in their conviction. But then what happened after Abraham, Yitzchak and Yaakov? We fell down. We went into slavery. We went from the highest heights to the lowest of the low. And the Jewish people look at themselves in Egypt and they say, it's over. There's nothing that we can do. But listen to what happens, and this is very, very powerful. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, pick up the tail of the snake. The tail of the snake is just about the lowest point you can get to. The lowest of the low. And what happens when you pick up the tail of the snake? It turns up to the top of the staff. What's Hashem telling Moshe Rabbeinu to communicate with Am Yisrael? We can return. This is a wake-up call. People give up hope when they think there's no chance, when they think it's all over, when they think that anything I do won't make a difference. They give up hope. Hey, mitya'ashim. But Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, don't give up. The desperate situation can change. The snake can turn back into a rod. We can get back to that connection that we had, our forefathers had, the connection that Abraham and Isaac and Yaakov had. The snake can turn back into a rod. This idea is so important that the rod accompanies Moshe Rabbeinu throughout the story. When he splits the Red Sea, he takes his rod with him. And when the Jewish people fight Amalek, immediately after Kriyat Yamsuf, Moshe Rabbeinu takes his rod with him to give them strength, reminding them that you should never give up hope. This idea, the snake rod of Moshe, has ramifications not just then, but even for us today. We learn in the Mishnah in Brachot that if you're standing praying the Shemona Esrei, you're standing up straight and firm, and a snake coils round your feet, the Mishnah tells us to ignore the snake. The Sfat Emet explains this isn't just a halachic teaching, but it's telling us that if you are a rod, if you're standing up straight, connected in devotion to God, don't be tempted, don't be drawn, don't think about the snake. Don't fall down. Stay strong. Ignore the snake. I want to bless us all, Yehi Ratzon, for the moments that we feel like a snake, the moments that we feel there's no hope, the moments that we feel we should give up. At those difficult moments, remember the sign that Hashem gave to Moshe Rabbeinu, the sign that Aaron shown Paro, and the rod that accompanied the Jewish people throughout their journey. The snake can turn into a rod. There is a possibility of change. Don't give up. Even a snake can turn into a rod. Sweet, wonderful tzaddikim v'tzaddikot. May we all be blessed with a Shabbat, Shalom U'Varach.